Hello, Sacral Beauties. Welcome to the SheSacral Podcast. If you're new, I'm your host, Lindsay Christian, and I help women recover from chronic burnout. Today, we're going to dive in and talk about the receiving wound. So I know a lot of times we hear, especially when it comes to feminine energy content, that you just should allow yourself to receive. Just be open to receiving all of the abundance that's coming your way. And you're probably like, yeah, I don't know how to do that. Or I'm struggling with that. And they never actually teach you how to receive. But today I want to dive in and talk about something very real, which is having a receiving wound, where something has happened to you that has taught your nervous system that receiving from others is not safe. So the receiving wound usually starts from spaces where giving was praised, but receiving was shamed, ignored, or punished in some way. Maybe you grew up as the helper child, and you're praised for being responsible, selfless, and dependable. But when you asked for something, you were told, don't be selfish, or brushed aside. And your body learned that your worth comes from giving and not needing. Where there's narratives that say it's better to give than to receive. And women are especially conditioned to put others first, to nurture, and to sacrifice. While rest, feeling good, and receiving support are labeled as being indulgent or even lazy. There could have also been family systems around conditional love. Maybe receiving came with guilt or obligation or a payback. Have you ever had a family member that maybe in the past they helped you out with a few things here and there, and now they're asking for a favor from you, but you're not in a position to give or to help them out? And they throw back in your face, remember what I did for you? Remember all those times I did this, that, and the third? And that lesson starts to become receiving comes with too much cost. Or hearing, you should be more grateful. Hearing those things made having needs feel shameful. You could have seen your family members, mother or grandmothers, struggle in depletion, constantly giving while rarely accepting and receiving the care that they needed. And exhaustion was normalized and passed down as the template for womanhood. Another big piece that affects a lot of women can be relationships. Some women have had partners who have given them the world, right? Cars, homes, comfort, but it had attached strings of control. So for example, maybe you had a partner and they bought you a car, but the car's in their name, so it can be taken away at any time. Or generosity starts to become leverage. Look at everything I've done for you. Or women that have gotten blindsided by divorce, where their husband leaves them and they're left with nothing because they've dedicated their whole life to supporting their family. So they didn't spend any time with learning any skills or education to be able to create wealth for themselves. And we all have natural talents and abilities, or maybe even deep wisdom from something that we've overcome. So if you want to learn more about that, then be sure to check out the Moneymaker episode, because that can inspire anybody that's feeling stuck, like they're not able to really make more money. So let's talk about the pattern and how the receiving wound shows up. When receiving has been coded in your body that it's unsafe, your body will resist it at every level, from the smallest compliments to the biggest opportunities. The result is overgiving, depletion, or oftentimes moving into hyper-independence to feel safe. So this can look like deflecting the small things. Maybe you brush off compliments and say, it's no big deal. Or you reject simple help. No, it's fine. I got it. Even small acts of generosity can trigger guilt or tension. Or the pattern of overgiving as proof of your worthiness. Sometimes you can give more than you can afford, whether it's time, money, or energy, because giving feels like the only way to feel valuable. You may also mistrust generosity. When someone offers support, you scan for the catch. You may think, I don't know what strings are attached. Will they hold this over my head later? And even kindness can feel like a setup for control and manipulation later. So for many women, all of these experiences can harden you into hyper independence. The nervous system equates receiving with danger. So it will overcorrect and say, I'll need nothing and I'll rely on no one. But when you start doing everything yourself, this keeps your system in chronic overdrive, which is the perfect recipe for burnout. So this nervous system wiring drains you in two ways. You're overgiving energy you don't have, so you're pouring from an empty cup, and then you're blocking replenishment. So you're refusing to let in what would naturally nourish you. So it's like running a car on fumes while refusing to stop at the gas station. Eventually, the system will crash, not because you're not capable, but because you're not allowing yourself to be refilled. So when it comes to opportunities, I want to talk about something that's really important, because in order for you to really expand and grow and feel abundant, you may say yes to overworking, but no to mentorship, collaboration, or investments that can expand you. So you can end up keeping yourself small because accepting help feels unsafe. So opportunities end up passing you by. When it comes to love and support, when help is offered to you, you may say no, and that is going to train people to stop offering. And soon you're going to be surrounded by takers, not because that's all that exists, but because we haven't allowed for givers to come into our lives. So I want to talk a little bit more about how the receiving wound attracts takers, because this part can feel really frustrating, right? And we hear it all the time where it's like, I'm always giving to everybody else, but nobody's giving to me. And people are just selfish and they just take what they want. And it just sucks, right? And a lot of times we can't see ourselves in that experience and what is attracting that to us. So when your nervous system is wired to give but not receive, this starts to create this imbalance that naturally draws in people who will take from you. So your energy can radiate, I will give more than I take. I will do it all. And takers are always looking for that. So rather they are consciously manipulative, or maybe they're unconsciously conditioned to be a taker, they sense that openness and they come right in. So you may find yourself with partners who drain you emotionally, financially, or physically, because we're not allowing for ourselves to receive. And when it comes to work and business, we can attract clients who expect discounts, employers who overwork you without raising the pay, or collaborators who lean on your effort, but they don't give back equally. And I also want you to keep this in mind. For those that have grown up where they feel like they just never have enough, they are always looking for more. They're always looking for large amounts of quantities of things. And a lot of times they may not even use all of it, but the feeling of having a lot of stuff makes them feel safer because of their own abundance wounds. So we want to be mindful that a lot of our own abundance wounds can start to become magnets to other abundance wounds and therefore create more lack. So we want to start shifting that energy and being aware that when we promote or advertise, I'll do it all, I'll give you more, everything is free, that's who we're going to get. We're not going to attract those that are like, you know what, I want to invest. I don't want a bunch of stuff. I just want something that's going to make an impact. So we're going to do a masterclass on the art of receiving, because I think this is so important, and I'll share an update on that later. But just for now, I want you to start small. If you receive a compliment, just accept it without deflecting. At the very least, just say thank you and say yes when help is offered to you. Practice letting gifts in without the guilt. A lot of times we have to work on our discernment and following our intuition and not our fears. And what I love to do is actually train your nervous system to begin to equate receiving with safety by pairing it with pleasure. When the body feels really good and you're doing something new or you're trying to start a new habit, it will accelerate your body adopting it so much faster than if you were not going to pair that with pleasure. All right, wow, we covered so much in this episode. If this resonated with you, then be sure to leave a comment or a like or something just to let me know that, hey, this hit home and there's so much information out there about receiving, but they don't really teach you how to do that. So I'll be teaching how to do that very soon. All right, so up next, we're going to talk about another big topic, which is the comparison wound and how that leads us into burnout when we're so focused on trying to compare ourselves to others and compete and envy and all of what comes with that, and even a little touch of the evil eye. So I think that's going to be really interesting. Be sure to tune into the next episode. Thank yourself so much for showing up today, and thank you for tuning in to the SheSacral Podcast.